If I had to describe China in one word, I would say boundless. There's so much to learn, so much to see, and it's so hard to pin down.
I think the word that I would choose to describe China is relational.
Life in China is surprising. I'm always surprised by the people's generosity and their kindness.
I think that the people in China are incredibly relational and really value the way that they connect with one another.
Well, your day-to-day experience really depends on what city and what school you end up at, but for me, it looked like waking up and coffee and then heading to class.
Typical routine as I get up, I have my coffee. I usually have a morning class that I'll go to.
But outside of classroom, I actually do have quite a bit of time to spend time learning the language, to engage with students.
And then in the afternoon, it was open for a lot of things. So sometimes that meant language studies, sometimes it meant grad school work, exercise, lesson planning, hanging out with students.
And then in the evenings, we love to host game nights, or we have swing dancing once a month that we do with students, and they just eat that right up.
When I think about my students, I think about the adventures that we've had together. So I think about the times that we've cooked together, or just explored the city and adventured together outside of class.
I would say that my students are endlessly creative, often distracted, and surprisingly deep.
There was this one time I was really stressed out working at a coffee shop, and this girl just randomly gave me a note that said, hardworking girls are the most beautiful, and then she just ran off. And I was just so touched by that and so surprised. I love them.
Yeah, I think the hardest part about living in China is that so much just feels opaque. There's so much that you don't understand, and you feel like, well, maybe if I read one more book, maybe if I study Chinese a little bit harder. But in the end, it's cross-cultural living, and it takes a while for some of those things to become clear. And I think that can be exhausting, but there's also a ton of joy just in getting to learn, and you'll be learning every day.
I would say the hardest part about living in China is the language barrier. It is very difficult to get through, especially your first year, but thankfully, usually you're on a team with people who do know a little bit of language who can help you.
I think the best part about living in China is just the energy and the growth that surrounds you. I've gotten to see the cities that I live in just grow and develop, and then you see so much growth in the life of your students over a couple years with them, and then you experience that in yourself too.
I think the best thing about living in China has been the relationships. So just getting connected and plugged in really quickly, and then spending time with students, with locals, and just enjoying relationship with them.
You will not have a more loyal friend than a Chinese friend.
I think that in my students I get to see the fullness of life, really intense pain, and then also excitement and joy. And they're some of my best friends, and I can't wait to see them again.